For the big story, our second for today. And we're looking at the unfolding political and legal drama surrounding the Rivers State government and the recent Federal High Court ruling that restricts the Central Bank of Nigeria from releasing financial allocations to the state. Justice Joyce Abdulmalik of the Federal High Court in Abuja ruled that Governor Siminalayi Fubara's actions, particularly the presentation of the 2024 budget to a four-member Rivers House of Assembly, violated constitutional provisions. Now, this judgment comes amidst rising tensions within Rivers State's political arena, with accusations of executive overreach and allegations of executive dictatorship. Now, Governor Fubara, however, remains unfazed by the court's decision, asserting that his administration will continue to operate as planned, with payments to contractors, workers and local council allocations proceeding unaffected. He has framed his administration's struggles as resilience in the face of political attacks and insists on his commitment to peace and progress in Rivers State.
And so, to unpack this complex issue, we are joined by two guests, very distinguished. Mr. Jerry A. Omotshegunwa, the Special Assistant to the Rivers State Governor on Electronic Media, and Mr. Kabir Akingbolu, a legal practitioner and public affairs analyst who's been here many times on the show. Gentlemen, you're welcome here on Breakfast Extra.
It's a pleasure for having me on the program.
Good morning. Thanks for the opportunity this morning.
You're welcome, sir.
Good morning.
I'm going to start here in the studio with you, Mr. Kabir. Now, first of all, I'd like you to talk us through the structure that's being used against the Rivers State governor now. That structure, which has in it what they're saying is the fault, that is the four-man member committee that this paper was submitted to initially. Walk us through that structure and how it has fallen, how it has become what's being used against the government.
Well, you see, what we have here is, I think, a political misunderstanding turning to a political warfare and now having a terrible effect on the populace. You know, speaking for myself, I think the issue of godfatherism is now rearing its ugly head. The effect, the negative consequence or negative effect of godfatherism is what is rearing its ugly head in all the things that are happening in Rivers State. Call it victimization, call it persecution, call it corruption, call it executive lawlessness or anything. You will arrive at the corner cause as political godfatherism and its effect. You see, but I, for one, except we are pretending. If I were to speak for myself, I would say that this thing has happened. Okay, nobody is doubting it that Wike helped, Governor Fubara to get to office. However, you have got him there, let him perform. Leave him. If you don't want to support him again, for Canada.
Mr. Kabir, by implication, you're saying that the judiciary is actually being used as a tool. The court is being used as a tool. It's been what?
Weakenized.
Yeah,
is that what it's saying? Is that what it is?
I'll come to that.
Okay.
You see, it is, judiciary is staying on its own before you come to them. A judge cannot just sit down one day and wake up one day and be giving decisions. So what I'm saying, you said I should run through the precursors to the present place we are now. If you don't want to support Governor Fubara again, let him finish it tenure. Because where two elephants fight is the ground that will suffer. Because I pity the guy, the governor. I don't envy him at all. And I think you have been Minister of Education. You have been governor for 8 years. You have been local government chairman. You have been chief of staff. Since 1999, you have been in government. You are still a minister now. Yet, why are you not allowing the young man to enjoy his pain? That is one part. The second part is this. The two wrongs doesn't make it right. You understand? Those things have happened. It's either the government seeks political solution or legal solution, or what they call, traditional method. You understand? That we call a wisdom. That's what we call street sense. Mm-hmm. Now, going to place a budget before the House of Assembly is a constitutional rule. It's a role imposed by the Constitution, and it must be done in no other way, according to the way the Constitution has laid it down. Now, under the Constitution, the quorum of a house is formed by 1/3 of the members in the house. The Rivers State is a 31-member house. Now, if you have 31-member house and you are having, or 30, let's put it, simple arithmetic, 1/3 is 10. Now, for somebody, we're in a democracy, or if we don't want to use democracy, we call it civil rule, then we should be seen to be serious at all. You are placing budget before 4 members. Is there something wrong with that? That is what the court frowns at. Do you understand? Nobody will say the court is wrong here. Anybody that wants to say so is only saying so for saying so. It happened in Edo State. Why we cannot blame what is happening now again? That it happened in Edo State. Governor Obaseki ruled for 4 years with 9 members. Out of 25-member house, they never sworn in 15 members for the whole 4 years that he ruled that state. And President Buhari was looking. Other political actors were looking, and nothing happened. Those 15 members were only voted for. They didn't step into the floor of the house just for 1 day, for a minute.
So why is Rivers State then different with a 4-member house?
No, he said at the beginning.
That's what I'm saying. That it played that time. It happened and nobody challenged it.
So it's weakenized.
Now it's happened. No. Somebody is challenging here now, or because that one in Edo State also, this is where you pity the judiciary as well. It's my constituency, but we have to tell the truth. In Edo State, they filed about 4 or 5 stools. None of them came to be heard for the 4 years. What has happened? Who played the game then that it didn't happen? What is happening here now? These are the issues.
Fred Might, I will leave it there. Let's come to you, sir, Mr. Jerry, and then ask this question, right? There's been rumors circulating on social media that Governor Fubara had gone ahead to, just regarding shutting down the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited and other oil companies. Now, we understand that your office has issued a strong denial from the office of the Commissioner for Information for the State Commissioner, Joe Johnson. But could you clarify the administration's stance on managing relations with oil companies and addressing any potential misinformation that could have escalated from the fallout of the ruling for the CBN regarding state allocation for Rivers State?
I must thank you for providing this opportunity for us to discuss and so that the world can know what's happening in Rivers State. For my friend in the studio, Rivers State is a 32-member House of Assembly. So I just wish I should make that correction. But for the question you ask, I want to say that that publication or that news is a lie from the pit of hell. And I think those who are responsible for that news are those who don't want good for Rivers State. Those people who have called for a state of emergency before, those people who have also done a lot of things, throwing bombs everywhere to make sure that maybe a state of emergency is declared so that they will now say Rivers State is not a secure place. There will be a cordial relationship between the companies around here and the state government itself. So there is no such call from any part of the government. And again, if the government is releasing such information, somebody from within the government ought to sign it. It's either the Chief Press Secretary or the Commissioner for Information and Culture and all those, and Communication, and all that. But that document wasn't signed by anybody. As it is right now, the governor is like an ego, and those who are doing this whole thing, including the publication or the statement you just talked about, are like the crone, that small bird that will perch on the back of the eagle, and the space or how will I put it now, the height at which the governor has gone to right now, they are all falling back. So we can't do that. We are not like the other administration who has 1 or 2 problems with the NDDC or any other company, and all you do is shut down, or at the slightest provocation, you demolish people's houses and hotels like it happened in the COVID era. So we don't do that, and we don't intend to do that, and we will never, ever do that.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Can I come back here to the studio with
please.
Mr. Kabir here? Now, regarding the intention of the court when it comes to this restriction on the allocation to River State. Is it meant to be a punitive in any way, shape or form, a punitive measure against the governor? Does it seem so? And if it is, what consideration is being given to the effect on the people, on governance of the state?
I would have expected the court to give a judgment. Nobody can fault the judgment.
Yeah, of course, you've established that, yes.
However, the court should have, for the purpose of good governance and in the interest of democracy and development in River State, the court should have come to a conclusion to say, okay, from the findings before us, this is what we have found, this is not good, this is not okay, this is not okay, that the governor should go and present a budget before a properly constituted house within XYZ time. So where the governor has now failed to do that, then this sledgehammer can now be used.
But this would mandate a mechanism from scratch all over again, where you have to institute a quorum, which he does not have at the moment.
The issue is this. Even if he has said that one, this is politics for goodness sake. I can tell you, the power of governor is very wild. It's very wide. Very, very wide and elastic. So if the governor wants to do that, sometimes you do things, you can call them for the purpose of the budget, play your own politics, let it be, let this thing be passed, at least let there be a quorum. If there is a quorum, there might not be issue. At least.
But that is the main issue now. That lack of quorum and that division within the party itself is what's causing all of this to fall out.
But at least the court should have at least given that room. If it's not practicable, that would be another ball game.
I want us to test this with Mr. Jerry here. Mr. Jerry, what is your take on that, hearing this? Do you think that it would have been fair if the court gave time and asked the governor to perhaps put together a quorum, whatever the cost, whether it has to be traditional means, like Mr. Kabir mentioned in the beginning, or other formal or informal means? What do you think?
I think that the idea of quorum is arguable. Though the court didn't talk about the issue of defection of the 27 lawmakers. And that is where the whole problem lies right now. Because according to Section 109, even though I'm not a lawyer, subsection 2, that if you leave the party that sponsor you for election and go to another party, your seat shall be declared vacant. And at the end of the day, and because you have other people who were in the house, and they took up that leadership, they had to brace up to the challenge, elected somebody as their own leader, and that person had declared their seat vacant. That is the main issue right now that led to this whole matter. But for the judgment, like the barrister have said, I don't want to fault the judgment, but I think that there is already a case at the Supreme Court, similar to this one, that's the Justice Omotshegunwa's case, that the appeal court have done judgment, and the case is before the Supreme Court. And all efforts to draw Justice Joyce Abdulmalik attention to this issue fall on deaf ear. Even the case of trying to join the matter and all those, she refused everything and passed her judgment like somebody that has a task work that we must finish on time. If not, something will go wrong. So she would have waited for the Supreme Court to give judgment on that similar matter before she can now give her own. But when it comes to the issue of law, we have also challenged it at the appeal court. Let's see how far we can run at the end of the day. But the issue of defection is still a matter before our eyes. And you all know it's in public glare that these people, 27 of them, moved from their party. Their letter was read just the way in 2015, before 2015, that 2014, David Mark read the names and the letter of some senators who belongs to the PDP, and they shift their position immediately to the party they are defecting to opposition. So that's still an issue that need to be determined before we can have absolute peace right now. But if that is not done, and this whole stoppage of allocation and those put together, I think they will not be fair to Rivers State government and Rivers people.
I mean, speaking of unfairness, we have seen the reactions have been towing the same line because the NLC chapter for Rivers State has called the judgment anti-development and lacking in empathy. And the ruling has also raised concerns about potential disruptions to essential services. I think as of yesterday, or was it Friday, we understand that the NLC came out to say that that stance will be on possibly withdrawing services if the ruling disrupts workers' welfare. So has the government communicated with the NLC or taking any steps to mitigate the impact on state workers and their services?
In the mouth, it will touch the teeth and touch anything that is in the mouth. So if you stop federal allocation from coming to Rivers State, it means the first people who will be at the receiving end will be the NLC, because their workers will not be paid at the end of the day. Even though my governor has said, look, there's no cause for alarm, we can weather the storm. But let's also look at it that why will you get so much from the same state, and at the end of the day, the state will not get? Even those who didn't bring anything to the table, like he said, will now be the ones to be enjoying this whole thing, while those who suffer as a result of the environmental degradation as a result of the product being taken from here will not get anything. Does it make any sense to you? So the NLC, they are doing their own. But personally, this is my personal opinion, I don't think the NLC should go about with their threat, because it will make the already not too good situation to go worse. Unless the NLC national, that's the entire NLC led by Yuba Waba, what's his name? Joe Ajeru, right? Can say, okay, injury to one is injury to all. Since this will be happening to Rivers State, let's all come together and shut down the Nigerian economy. But if it will be for Rivers State alone, it will be adding more pains to people who you think are already paid. So they shouldn't, please.
The governor has said, he has allayed the fears of, the citizens and also workers alike. He said that, plans will continue, payments will be made, promises and communication with contractors regarding, plans and construction and infrastructural development will continue. And so one has to to ask the question, how is he going to do this?
Is that why we should forfeit our... Is that why we should forfeit our, what they call statutory allocation? That allocation is coming from what you got from the same place, our backyard here. So is it not fair that you do NCNC? Those who didn't contribute shouldn't consume. If we're in a proper federal arrangement, why not the state get its resources together and move, pay to the federal? Why the other way around? If we were getting resources directly and pay to the federal, will the federal have the infantry to say, okay, or any court will say, don't even give to them, not considering that you are getting the same thing from here? So why not we operate the same federal system that was operational before Aguiyi came in and changed everything to a unitary system? So that we know that we're operating a federal system.
So I see what you're saying there, and it makes plenty of sense. I agree. I'm going to come back to the studio to Mr. Kabir here, and let's talk about state autonomy, because that's what's on the question here. As much as this seems like a situation where the states are supposed to be operating on their own, there still seems to be so many strings attached to other factors. Exactly, other individual, and I mean personalized factors. The case of Rivers State doesn't seem to be one that has a legislative backgrounds or anything surrounding governance. It's more cultural. It's more one of you slighted me and you're going to suffer for it. So what's the repercussion? What's this going to do for state autonomy? For other states, looking at it broadly now, what's the impact on state autonomy in Nigeria?
Well, you see, when you talk about this, then I will go a bit back to history. Under Obasanjo, something like this happened to Lagos State. And the allocation was withheld for about 3 years. Do you understand? But Lagos being a viable state, and Rivers is also a viable state. One of the two of them have the most, they have the highest IGR, so they can survive without any federal allocation. That's why you see the governor saying that, well, you can't derail us. We are on course. We are going to follow the course to a logical conclusion. Even if, like we told the, allocation, we can always, do our thing and people will not suffer. So he's so confident, and I know he will be able to play the game according to this. But like you said, under the federal allocation or federal constitution that we operate, so much power is concentrated at the federal or at the central. So the component parts which the states are, and the local governments which are part of the fragments, they play a little role. You can see what happened between state government and the local government. The local government is tied to the apron string of the state. So also the state is tied to the apron string of the federal government.
Yeah. Right.
So this is why you see all these things happening. In fact, it's worse when you consider the relationship between the state and the local government. It's a kind of Siamese. You understand? They muzzle them. In fact, they didn't allow them to even breathe or exist. But federal government is still giving some this in there. It is not our fault. It is the kind of constitution that we operate. That's why you see people clamoring to say, let us do it this way. It's not that the constitution is entirely bad in itself, but it is in the operational, device, system. That
it's set for order.
Yes.
It's supposed to be set for order. Now, the influence from here now is more cultural, like I said. So who's going to step in and separate that cultural grievance from governance?
It is the president. You understand?
And why isn't the president speaking in this? Why isn't there any word coming from the president at all?
Don't forget that before now, the president has tried to intercede. He called the state government. He called the government of Rivers State and the key players in Rivers with the minister.
And so that's it? He hands off after it doesn't work?
You understand? In fact, under some other government in the past, what would have happened is a state of emergency. Some government, but at least I'm not saying things are right there. Me, I am particularly pained with the way things go on in Rivers State. You understand?
Yeah.
It is just.
I think Mr. Jerry is trying to pass. Mr. Jerry, did we hear you? Did we hear you speak? Did you want to come in there somewhere?
I'm asking your guest in the studio, what the president did you call that intervention? That wasn't
I was going to ask
intervention.
that.
The 8-point pact that was brought in, was it a subject of discussion, like we are having the discussion now, and we now agree that this is what and what we are to do? Was it a subject of that discussion, and they type it and say everybody should sign? Have you asked why Sir Dr. Peter Odili, who was the one reading the whole statement, has to be the one to even walk out and didn't sign that thing that he read to people? It was an intimidation. And the governor said, okay, fine. If it is this that will lead to peace, fine. And at the end of the day, who was the first to violate that one? Why didn't the president call them to order? When the governor agreed and signed and said, look, I am going to abide by everything. After all, it's not a death sentence. He went to the court and said, look, let us withdraw our defense, hoping that these people will also do their own based on the peace pact. When they didn't withdraw their own and they got justice or got judgment from Justice Omotshegunwa, what did the president or presidency do? And that's the situation we find ourselves right now. So what you call intervention has been the one that is causing fire right now in the River State, because that Justice Omotshegunwa's judgment that came in before the case that came in before the defection, and at the end of the day, they defected. And part of the agreement, if you check that agreement, I think number 5 or 6, that said all the people that resigned from their party, he didn't even ask them to return. He said all the people that resigned from their party, that he should give in the right to operate. Are you now usurping the 1999 Constitution as amended, that Section 109 says that anybody that leaves the party and moves to another party, his seat shall be vacant?
Mr. Jerry, I'm going to pause you there. I'm going to pause you there so that Mr. Kabir can actually have...
Now, based on the fact that they didn't withdraw their own case,
all right,
the governor withdraw their defense.
All right, Mr. Jerry.
That's the situation we find ourselves right now. So it was like even a setup from the president.
All right, let me come in here, right? And I'm going to take a theme from that, which is conflicting court orders. And I'll come back here into the studio to talk to you, Mr. Kabir. Yeah. Conflicting court orders is the same thing that INEC cited regarding the by-elections to fill up the 27 vacant seats in the Okojombo-led House of Assembly. Yeah. Can you speak to that phenomena? There seems to be an issue, and not just in Rivers State as well. We see this recall over and over again in Nigeria's political narrative. Yes,
first of all, before I even react to that, I forgot before Mr. Jerry, before his last response, the response he had before, he made a statement that I'm not too comfortable with. So we are discussing, nobody's interested here. I said all their destiny fell on deaf ear. That's referring to the judge. It's not too good when we are talking about judgments of court. We have no such right to do that. However, the judge, like he said, since there is a similar case, do you understand, pending at the Supreme Court, you know, judicial circumspect will have come in and to say, okay, I've heard you, judgment is reserved. On pending the, you understand, pending the outcome of the Supreme Court decision, which is on a similar subject matter, that will not, nobody will die. You understand? That would have been fantastic from the judge, and people will have commended the judge. You understand? That is one part. And on the issue of defection or no defection, before I come to your question, you know, I have always been, you know, when we talk about this kind of thing, let us say hard fact and law. Yes, it is in evidence. Oh, it is a father. Oh, they came to the floor of the house and said they are defecting. Section 109 says if you defect, you shall, you know, have your seat forfeited. There is a clause that is said where there is division in the party, like in those, not a presumed division anyway, like one we have in those days where we have new PDP and old PDP. That was a clear division. Anybody can decamp at that time. You understand? Now, but decamping, it's a hard fact. Under Section 77 or so, I think of the evidence of the Electoral Act, it said, the registered member of all political parties shall be submitted to INEC and shall reside with INEC. Are you there? Now, if you want to decamp, you go to your unit, your level, your ward. You decamp from your ward, and your name shall be registered as a member of that political party. If I want to join a party now, I cannot go to Abuja and join. I will join from a ward in Lagos State or in Ogun State where I belong. From there, the name will go. If you check the list of members of PDP today, you will find the names of those guys there. If you check the register of APC today, you will find the names of those people there. And I challenge anybody who has a contrary view. What can show that I am an alumni for APU Zaria? What can make me to be is to tender my certificate or list of graduates for my year. You understand? Where it is not there, I cannot be. If I go to Oshodi and say, oh, I'm a graduate of UNILAG, does that make me a graduate of UNILAG? This is logical. They are in the floor of the house. Yes. It's just political shenanigans and nothing more. Do you understand? So this is the thing. But again, about the conflicting court order, it's a bad phenomenon. It is very, very bad. In fact, it's a threat to democracy. I think our judges should be more circumspect. I think earlier on, I think they summoned them to Abuja, but we will not hear anything again. Some judges ought to be dismissed, some ought to be sacked.
Is this not indicting the judiciary and officer?
It is, without any doubt.
Yeah, because I feel like they also are part of the root cause of this issue and a contributing factor to how this has exploded to this point.
And judiciary, if we apportion 10 blames to judiciary, we should apportion 90 to lawyers.
Stop. Wait, hang on. I like what you just said, and I want to add one more factor to it, to this. And Mr. Jerry, if you're still there, where is the responsibility of INEC in this conflagration that we're seeing in Rivers State? Your opinion, please.
Yes, INEC, I think they've not even done their own part. At the beginning of this whole matter, the former House Speaker, Edison Eye, wrote to INEC and said, look, people's seat has been declared vacant based on this, that. And INEC replied and said they are watching the situation. Just a few days ago, INEC said conflicting court orders have been the bane of their own problem. Now, just last week, Martin Samekule and his group withdrew one of the cases that they filed against INEC not to conduct election to fill their vacant seats. Now, what will INEC do? That has created an opportunity for INEC to act and make sure that the 27 seats that have been declared vacant are filled immediately. Not just 27, somebody resigned, another person, the Kana constituency, one guy died. So you have like 27 plus 2, that's like 29 seats that they need to conduct election. Now that the barricade, now that the court order barring them from filling those seats has been struck out from the court. So what else are they waiting for? Or maybe they have a God somewhere that they liberate to every morning that the God has not told them what to do. That is where the problem lies. So they too are part of the problem. Like our people will always say, if you blame the rat for eating the fish, you should also blame the fish for its aroma.
A very interesting turnout of phrases.
Mr. Jerry, I have to say this, right, and hopefully you can help us respond to these claims. There have been claims and criticism that there has been executive overreach by the Governor Siminalayi Fubara in the federal house, in the State House of Assembly, that has been executive overreach, and he's over there overseeing the House and is very instrumental to the structure of the House. How would you respond to these claims?
That executive overreach to the other people or to the Omotshegunwa-led assembly? That's
to the Omotshegunwa, or rather the entire structure of it. It is because of his executive overreach, hence why we now see an Omotshegunwa-led executive.
No. You see, the governor is somebody that respects the law, is a well-brought-up breed, and will not do anything contrary. Now, the belief in the streets, the belief in everywhere in Rivers State right now, if you send your correspondent to the street of Rivers State, they will tell you they don't know the Martins Amewule-led assembly. They don't. I'm not talking because I'm a government appointee, and I'm telling you the real truth right now that they don't know. Because what these guys are doing is like self-serving. Now they come up with law, you want to extend local government tenure, you want to do this, you want to do that. There is nothing for the Rivers people in whatever law they are making. You want to make law to extend traditional rulers, this, just to protect everybody around them except the Rivers people. So, if the Constitution, even though that case is still in court, have said, if you do this, you lose this. And the people that they are supposed to be protecting with their law are also saying, this is what you have done, because it's like a slap to everybody, intelligence in Rivers State here, that in the glare light, you move. And your guest in the studio also said something, that look, you have to register from your ward. As at the time, the senators in 2014, when they read their letter in the Senate by David Mark, as at the time they moved from where their party used to sit to the opposition party's position, have they gone to their ward to do the registration? And at the end of the day, David Mark was also, because there were like 16 people that applied or wrote a letter that they want to move. But he read the letter of only 11, knowing too well that if these people, if you read the letter of the other 4 or 5, they will not become majority, and by so doing, his own seat may be endangered. So he refused to read those letters. So have they gone to their ward as at that time that David Mark, the Senate President, number 3 man, now recognize them as opposition party members?
Thank you, Mr. Jerry. Mr. Kabir.
Yeah.
As we begin to start to round up, and I'm going to let you respond because I know you have an art for going back and pulling, but I wanted to also add to that, what remedies, whether electoral, legislative, or from federal government, could be applied in the Rivers State conflicts that could ease everything out?
Well,
lasting solution.
Before any solution can come at all, the court judgment at the Supreme Court must come. We are waiting for the court judgment at the Supreme Court. Once the Supreme Court speaks, whether you like it or not, that is final. No, there is nothing anybody can do.
Do you see it be in favor
you
for the people? Will it be in favor? And I hate to have you preempt, but would that ruling in any way, shape, or form be in the favor of the people of River State?
Let me have it. Will it be fair?
Yeah, I want to think it will be fair, but you know, whether you like it or not, well, the judges also are members of the society, so they know what is happening. You understand? So, but they will apply the law, you know, blind their eyes to all the shenanigans, the press, and all that. Most of the time, Lord Dennis, in the rule of in his book, the due process of law, said no judge what is sought will be carried away by what you read on the pages.
Is that what applies in Nigeria?
So, but in Nigeria today, well, we don't know how far.
I see the way you're dancing around this.
Judiciary has to be very. Let me tell you, it's a double-edged sword.
Mr. Kabir, I want to appreciate your carefulness. Yeah. And that's just skill.
Yeah.
Being a legal practitioner, Mr. Jerry.
But I want the people of Rivers to win. That is what I
exactly.
want. That's what you know. If they win, the judiciary has tried.
Yeah.
I mean, the democracy has tried.
Mr.
Yeah,
Jerry, I'm
absolutely.
hoping that you are going to reiterate this win for the people of Rivers State as well in your concluding remark. Let me let you do that, if you will.
If there's oil spillage in anywhere in Rivers State right now, who will suffer? Rivers people. The Rivers people too should be able to benefit from whatever that is coming based on the federal system that say we are practicing. Those who have suffered the pollution should also enjoy the benefit when there's no pollution. So I hope the final judgment will also have this in mind when they are giving judgment at the end of the day. But I must also say, in the case of the quorum your guest talk about, according to the former Chief Judge of Rivers State, Chief Judge or Attorney General of Rivers State, Emmanuel Aguma, he said, because he was quoting this in the 2016, before the rerun, there were only 9 members remaining in the House, and that 9 out of 32, according to you, does not form a quorum. But there were the 9 who cleared the former Chief Judge of Rivers State, Justice Lamikara, and were in defense. The Attorney General said that since they are the only people known by law, because other people sit at the council and they need to go for a rerun, that they are the recognized house. And the quorum of that 9 out of the 32 should be 3. And if only 3 seats, the law goes.
All right.
So we need to check it out.
Well, we must say thank
But
you
we hope
to
for peace.
Yes, indeed.
Mr. Jerry, we want to thank you. Mr. Jerry Omotshegunwa, he is the Special Assistant to the Rivers State Governor on Electronic Media. We also had Mr. Kabir Akingbolu. He's a legal practitioner and human rights lawyer, and they both joined us today to just help us dissect the many conflicts and
It was more than a dissection. It was a dance around this topic, and we made it very clear to most people. I appreciate the two of you. Thank you very
and
much.
we hope to find a lasting solution, and I hope this conversation will continue on until, and hopefully fall at the hands of, the executive and find a lasting solution to the problems for the Commonwealth and for the sake of the people of Rivers State. Once again, many thanks.